Hello and welcome to the very first meetup of the Digital Marketing Book Club. We're talking about Psychographics today. The club was organized by the University of Illinois. As you know, today we'll discuss the article, Psychographics, Suggested Important for Marketers and Demographics. This piece was written by Alexandra and published in the Harvard Business Review. My name is Annabelle. I'm an intern certified digital marketing strategist and copywriter working at WORDART. I've also earned various certifications and advances in the linguistic program. I'm very glad you could join us. It's nice to see you, Elizabeth and Rehab. I'm well. Hope you're both great too. As for the structure of this meeting, we have 30 minutes. So I'll quickly summarize the article, discuss the definition of psychographics, and answer some of the questions that will be posted in the group. After that, the floor is yours. One sequentially start and pass the mic around in that order. Sounds good? Let's start. Let's start off with a quote from the article, distinguishing between demographics and psychographics. How do you choose to distinguish between demographics? Slicing the market up by age, gender, ethnicity, income, location, employment status, and other broad variables can help us understand the differences and commonalities. The psychographics, which measure customers' attitudes, values, activities, personalities, interests, and lifestyles, etc., rather than objective demographic criteria, can provide deeper insight that complements what we learn from demographics. Visually, we can see that the target market or population can be sliced up or classified according to different criteria. Demographics include basic objective data such as age, income, and location. Psychographics, being more subjective, deal with needs, wants, attitudes, and values, amongst others. The author then discusses the role widespread internet access has played in psychographics significance for us. The internet has changed the relative importance of demographic and psychographics to marketers in three key ways. By making psychographics more actionable, by making psychographic differences more important, and by making psychographic insights easier to access. Is the author right? Let's have a quick look at the impact of the internet on consumer lifestyle. Number one, the playing field is now more even thanks to social media. So smaller companies can compete and take market share from the bigger companies. The second answer could also have to do with the fact that bigger companies have many processes and systems in place which can make their decision-making process longer, and thus it's harder for them to respond to rapid changes in the market or to individual consumers. I hope that helped, Peter. And finally, we have a question from Elizabeth, who had a lot of questions. And the main question is, how can I determine the best return on investment for my marketing dollars, considering there are so many tools to use? And we're going to answer this question as well. First, let's define psychographics. What is psychographics? Segmentation. Analysis of consumer lifestyles to create a detailed customer profile or buyer persona according to the Business Dictionary. Wikipedia states that it is the study and classification of people according to their attitudes, aspirations, and other psychological criteria, especially in market research. In other words, for a given consumer segment, we study their activities, behaviors, interests and hobbies, opinions and attitudes, values, beliefs, and lifestyle and habits. These are also termed as AIO. The term psychographics has been around since the 1960s, as you can see from the graph. And as we've learned earlier, the rise of the internet has coincided with the rise of psychographics. So the first question was, which intel is most important for us as marketers? Demographics or psychographic data, and why? Let's study exactly how these two market segmentation approaches through our topic. Demographics look at who they use, whereas psychographics looks at why they do what they do. Demographics are objective facts about the consumer, such as age, gender, income level, location, employment, and so on. Whereas psychographics, on the other hand, are subjective and expressed by the consumer, such as beliefs about the environment or animal rights, attitudes towards conventional schooling, and so on. So demographics will be measurable and quantitative, or as Kevin Hartman taught us in analytics, more likely to be structured data. Yet psychographics data is qualitative and fuzzy. In Web analytics terms, this data is focused on unstructured, and it's important to note unstructured data usually comprises 80% of the data that a web analyst works with. Psychographics requires digging deeper and are relatively harder to obtain than demographics. Psychographics would be a description of the culture of the target market, whereas demographics would be population statistics, is one way of looking at it. Important, we need to know that most purchases are made for emotional reasons. Only 30% of the time do we buy stuff for rational purposes. Remember ice cream or iPads? Anyone? So what does this actually mean? This basically answers the question, which is most important for marketing, demographics or psychographics? The answer is both. Market research and segmentation approaches complement each other to create a complete buyer persona or customer profile. We had the traditional approach of identifying our prospects based on demographics or based on occupation. One could further classify Psychographics to quantify brand loyalty. We could use behavioristic data to measure if we use the age of our products and customer loyalty. As we've learned, we can approach our market in terms of their activities, interests, and opinions using psychographics. A relatively recent phenomenon is to create a social graph to identify our most loyal customers, engage with them directly to get feedback, as well as to involve them in influencing their peers. We can also use segmentation models such as Minerva, OCs, Val's, Prism, Acorn, and STP to manage and analyze our data. Another way of visualizing the relationship between demographics and psychographics is shown here. So, it's all about classifying people for marketing objectives. Now we come to Elizabeth's question. She had a really good question here. And what does all this mean for the return on investment in marketing? Let's have a look at what some of the more influential marketers have to say. Neil Patel tells us, build a deep understanding of your customer or risk irrelevance. Jeremy Smith tells us, psychographics is the greatest thing that ever happened to marketing in general and conversion optimization in particular. HubSpot makes it clear. You can only effectively target audiences when you understand both the demographics and psychographics. The combination of both sets of data starts to form your buyer persona. And Mashable has it for marketers. Marketing is all about knowing your customers and the best way to respond to them. That's what marketers love. In conclusion, to market effectively, marketers need to know their consumers deeply. Businesses that succeed are those that know the customer best. Big companies that are not timely and responsive to their buyers are at risk. This was Peter's question, right? The most cost-effective way to maximize marketing dollars is to make data acquisition an integral part of the business process. And as we saw earlier, we can gain insight by using customer surveys, feedback from client-facing employees, those in sales, customer support, social media engagement, listings and analysis, engagement in social communities, holding focus groups and reviews, using web analytics and other digital marketing tools which abound. We can also extend our CRM fields to collect data on a systematic. Well, that's it from me. Let's discuss. Thank you for listening. Now it's your turn. If you'd like to comment or ask a question, please type in the chat box. Thank you for attending. What are your favorite market research tools for psychographics? Do comment below. This wraps up our first digital marketing book focusing on psychographics, arranged by the University of Illinois and presented by Shanshan. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Look forward to discussing this further in the group.